The wedding has been shot. We are now husband and wife.
I wanted to run away and hide. Melissa Gilbert's words almost made Dean Butler, who played her husband in the movie Little House, almost collapse. Unlike the two's chemistry, the behind-the-scenes of the intimate scenes between Melissa Gilbert and Dean Butler were practically tortured moments. In a rare interview, Melissa Gilbert candidly admitted to having negative feelings about Dean Butler during their initial interactions. The reason behind this has made many fans confused. Let's watch until the end of the video to hear her honest sharing. On the beloved family drama Little House on the Prairie, fans had the pleasure of watching the Ingalls children grow from young kids into mature adults, navigating the challenges and joys of life on the American frontier. One significant plot line involved the introduction of Laura Ingalls' future husband, Almanzo Wilder, a character whose arrival was both anticipated and dreaded by the show's star, Melissa Gilbert, who played Laura. Melissa Gilbert had portrayed Laura Ingalls since she was a young girl, and over the years she had become deeply connected to her character. As the storyline evolved, the show's creators planned for Laura to meet and eventually marry Almanzo, a turning point that would mark Laura's transition from childhood to adulthood. This development required the introduction of a new actor to portray Almanzo, a change that left Gilbert feeling apprehensive. The role of Almanzo Wilder was eventually given to Dean Butler, an actor who would bring charm and warmth to the character. However, Butler's arrival on set was a source of anxiety for Gilbert. She was just a teenager at the time, and the prospect of working closely with a new male co-star, particularly one who was meant to be her character's love interest, was daunting. Recalling the day Dean Butler first arrived on set, Melissa Gilbert described herself as being freaked out. The experience of having to adjust to a new dynamic on the show, especially one involving a romantic relationship, was overwhelming for the young actress. Gilbert's nervousness was compounded by the fact that Butler was significantly older than she was, adding to her sense of unease. Melissa Gilbert and her castmates on Little House on the Prairie donned period-appropriate attire reflective of the 1870s and 80s, immersing themselves in the historical setting of the show. For the girls and women on set, this entailed wearing cumbersome costumes, including petticoats, pantaloons, and long dresses. These garments, while authentic to the time period, presented significant challenges for the actors, who had to endure long hours in often uncomfortable attire. In a 2011 interview with the Post and Courier, Gilbert reflected on her experiences with these costumes. She recalled her reluctance to wear restrictive clothing, yearning instead to dress like her contemporaries. "I remember not wanting to wear those petticoats and pantaloons and stuff," she said. The heavy and layered costumes were a stark contrast to the more modern and casual attire worn by other children her age at the time. This difference highlighted the unique pressures of maintaining historical accuracy on the show while managing the typical desires of a young girl wanting to fit in with her peers. Gilbert also expressed a desire to change her hair and adopt styles that were more fashionable and contemporary. However, the show's commitment to authenticity meant that she had to maintain period-appropriate hairstyles, much to her chagrin. "I remember wanting to change my hair, and I wasn't allowed to," she recounted. The strict adherence to historical accuracy extended to every aspect of their appearance, reinforcing the importance of discipline and dedication to their roles. Interestingly, Gilbert pointed out a contradiction in the restrictions placed on her appearance. While changes to her clothing and hair were strictly controlled, she was allowed to undergo a nose job, a decision that was greenlit despite its potential to alter her natural look. This decision underscores the complex interplay between maintaining a character's historical integrity and addressing the personal and professional needs of the actors. Despite these challenges, Gilbert's experience on Little House on the Prairie taught her valuable lessons in discipline and work ethic. The necessity to adhere to the period-specific requirements of her character fostered a strong sense of responsibility and professionalism. These qualities were essential not only for her success on the show, but also for her growth as an actress and individual. In her 2009 memoir, Prairie Tale, Melissa Gilbert explored the complex emotions she experienced in anticipation of the arrival of her on-screen husband, a character who ultimately would be portrayed by Dean Butler. As an actress who had grown up in the role of Laura Ingalls on the beloved television series Little House on the Prairie, Gilbert had developed a deep connection with her character. She knew that Laura's journey, according to the original books by Laura Ingalls Wilder, included falling in love and getting married. This knowledge filled her with a mix of excitement and dread. Gilbert, who had read the books, was acutely aware that this development was inevitable. She understood that Laura's progression from a young girl to a woman in love was a natural part of the storyline. However, the prospect of having to show affection and kiss someone on screen when she had no real-life experience in such matters was daunting. Gilbert candidly shared that she had never gone out with, kissed, or even held hands with a boy. This lack of personal experience made the idea of performing romantic scenes particularly intimidating. The arrival of Dean Butler, who would play Almanzo Wilder, marked a significant turning point for Gilbert. Butler, who was older and more experienced, had to delicately navigate his role, knowing that Gilbert was still very much a teenager. Gilbert's initial reaction to Butler's arrival was one of trepidation. She described her feelings in vivid detail, revealing how she was freaked out at the thought of having to portray a romantic relationship with someone she barely knew. Despite her fears, Gilbert also recognized that this development offered an opportunity for personal growth. She had fluctuating, contrary emotions about getting a love interest on the program. On one hand, she dreaded the awkwardness and potential embarrassment of romantic scenes. On the other hand, she saw it as an easy way for me to gradually inch forward in my own life. Through Laura's experiences, Gilbert found a pathway to explore her own emotions and navigate the complexities of adolescence. Gilbert's portrayal of Laura's relationship with Almanzo required her to tap into feelings and experiences that were new and unfamiliar. She had to convey love, affection, and intimacy on screen, all while dealing with the insecurities and uncertainties of her own teenage years. This duality, acting out mature emotions while still feeling like a child, was a challenging balancing act. Her fluctuating emotions were reflective of a broader struggle faced by many child actors. Growing up in the public eye, Gilbert had to manage the pressures of fame while also dealing with the typical trials of adolescence. The introduction of a love interest on the show added another layer of complexity to her experience. Yet it also provided a unique opportunity for growth. By stepping into Laura's shoes, Gilbert could vicariously experience the milestones of growing up, even if she wasn't entirely ready for them in her personal life. Butler's presence on set eventually became a stabilizing factor for Gilbert. He approached their scenes with sensitivity and professionalism, helping Gilbert to feel more comfortable in their interactions. Over time, their on-screen chemistry blossomed, contributing to the show's continued success and adding depth to Laura's character. Speaking in more detail about Melissa Gilbert's reaction, when Butler arrived on set, Gilbert's reaction was nothing short of catastrophic. "I was hit by a perfect storm of disappointment, fear, anger, and nausea," she wrote. The young actress had expected the producers to cast someone close to her own age, a contemporary with whom she could comfortably navigate the new romantic scenes. Instead, the producers cast Butler, a man in his 20s, a decision that caught Gilbert completely off guard. "I'd expected the producers to cast a contemporary of mine, someone close to my age. Instead, they had cast a man." The stark reality of Butler's age and maturity compared to her own was overwhelming. Butler was 23 years old, while Gilbert was just 15, and this age difference was painfully evident to her. "That's right. Dean was a grown-up man," she wrote. "I looked at him as if he'd risen from Dr. Frankenstein's lab. He was in his 20s. He shaved, drove a car, and lived in his own apartment. The maturity and life experiences that Butler brought to the role were in stark contrast to Gilbert's own, who still felt very much like a young girl. The thought of portraying romantic affection with someone who seemed so adult was daunting and uncomfortable for her. "And suddenly I was supposed to get it on prairie style? No thanks," she said, encapsulating her dread with a mix of humor and genuine discomfort. Gilbert's apprehensions were not just about acting alongside an older co-star, but were also rooted in her own insecurities and lack of experience. She had never been in a romantic relationship, let alone kissed a boy, which made the prospect of on-screen romance even more intimidating. The real-life Laura and Almanzo Wilder were 10 years apart in age, so it made sense that the actors portraying them also had a significant age difference. However, understanding this fact did little to alleviate Gilbert's fears. "We were supposed to fall in love, but all I knew was that I wanted to run away and hide," she admitted. Despite the initial awkwardness and emotional turmoil, Gilbert and Butler eventually developed a strong friendship. The shared experiences on set, coupled with the passage of time, allowed them to overcome the initial discomfort. Today, they are great friends, having both survived and grown from the initial challenges of their working relationship. This transformation from awkward co-stars to close friends speaks volumes about their professionalism and personal growth. There was a funny and sad episode that happened at the studio, marking a memorable memory for both Gilbert and Butler. Melissa Gilbert's first on-screen kiss was a memorable and emotionally charged moment, one that took an unexpected turn due to the dramatic reaction of her mother. Gilbert, who played Laura Half-Pint Ingalls on the beloved series Little House on the Prairie, had to face not only the challenges of acting out her first romantic scene, but also the unforeseen emotional impact it had on her family. The scene in question featured her character Laura sharing her first kiss with Almanzo Wilder, played by actor Dean Butler. This moment was a significant milestone in both the show and Gilbert's personal life. As a young actress, Gilbert was stepping into new territory, portraying a deeper, more mature relationship on screen. The anticipation and nervousness were palpable, not just for her, but for those around her. Dean Butler, who recently detailed the incident in his book Prairie Man, My Little House Life and Beyond, recounts the unexpected interruption caused by Gilbert's mother. During the filming of the pivotal kiss, Gilbert's mother, who was on set, began to sob loudly. The emotional outburst was so intense that it caused a disruption, forcing Michael Landon, the show's star, writer, and director, to yell, "Cut!" "It was totally unexpected. This kind of outburst just didn't happen on our set," Butler writes. The disruption was more than just a break in filming. It was a raw and unfiltered display of a mother's emotions, reflecting the deep connection and protectiveness she felt for her daughter. For Gilbert, the moment was already fraught with the typical anxieties of a teenager experiencing her first kiss, albeit in front of cameras and crew. The added element of her mother's tearful reaction amplified the pressure and emotional weight of the scene. Gilbert had to navigate her own feelings while also managing the unexpected emotional reaction from her closest family member. The incident sheds light on the often complex and layered experiences of child actors. For Gilbert, her journey on Little House on the Prairie was intertwined with her personal growth and family dynamics. The show was not just a professional environment, but also a place where real-life emotions and relationships played out. Michael Landon, known for his strict and professional approach to directing, had to address the situation delicately. His need to yell "cut" was indicative of the rare disruption on a typically well-managed set. Landon's role extended beyond directing. He often acted as a mentor and protector for the young actors, ensuring a balance between their professional and personal lives. Butler's recounting of the event in his book provides a nuanced perspective on the behind-the-scenes realities of the show. His reflections offer insight into the emotional landscape that Gilbert and her family navigated during her formative years on the series. It also highlights the bond that developed between the cast members, who often became a second family to each other. Despite the initial chaos, the kiss scene was eventually filmed, marking a new chapter in Laura Ingalls' story and in Gilbert's career. This moment, captured on screen, became a significant part of the show's legacy, remembered by fans for its tenderness and authenticity. According to Butler's memoir, Prairie Man, My Little House Life and Beyond, Abeles expressed disapproval of Butler's casting, largely due to her protective instincts over her teenage daughter. Her unhappiness culminated perhaps in not being able to bear seeing me kiss her daughter. It was a protective displeasure, Butler writes. This parental concern added a layer of tension to the dynamic between Gilbert and Butler, as Abeles' watchful eye influenced the interactions between the two actors during their pivotal scenes. The significant age difference between Gilbert and Butler further exacerbated the challenges they faced. At that time, Gilbert was navigating the transition from adolescence to young adulthood under the public scrutiny of her role as Laura Ingalls. Her sheltered upbringing, characterized by strict rules regarding her appearance and personal life, contrasted sharply with Butler's independence. Butler, a young man living on his own with a car, represented a world of adulthood and responsibility that was unfamiliar to Gilbert at the time. Butler's arrival on set marked a turning point for both actors. Gilbert candidly recounted her initial reaction to Butler's casting in her memoir, Prairie Tale, with the chapter titled OST, They Got a Real Man. This title encapsulates Gilbert's surprise and apprehension upon learning that Butler, a mature adult by her standards, would be playing her on-screen love interest. She openly admitted her reservations about engaging in intimate scenes with Butler, reflecting her discomfort and emotional turmoil as a young actress navigating unfamiliar territory. Dean Butler's reflections on his time working with Michael Landon on Little House on the Prairie provide a deep insight into the complexities of their professional relationship and shed light on Landon's multifaceted persona both on and off screen. In his book, Prairie Man, My Little House Life and Beyond, Butler approaches his portrayal of Almanzo Wilder with a blend of admiration and introspection, particularly when discussing his interactions with Michael Landon, who not only starred as Charles Ingalls, but also served as a writer, director, and executive producer of the series. Landon's influence extended far beyond his on-screen presence, shaping the show's narrative direction and fostering a creative environment that resonated with audiences worldwide. Butler describes Landon as a force of nature, highlighting his exceptional talents as a writer, director, and actor. Landon's iconic presence on the set was characterized by his trademark grin and sunglasses, which contributed to an aura of charisma and authority. Despite Landon's prominence, Butler reveals a sense of longing to have connected with him on a deeper, more personal level. He expresses a desire to have moved beyond the surface interactions and earned Landon's confidence, viewing him not only as a colleague, but also as a potential mentor. Reflecting on their professional dynamic, Butler acknowledges that Landon appeared perpetually occupied and focused on the demands of overseeing a major television production. This left little opportunity for Butler to forge a more intimate relationship with him beyond their professional exchanges. The actor's admiration for Landon's multifaceted talents is tempered by a poignant acknowledgement of the barriers that prevented a deeper connection between them. In Prairie Man, Butler emphasizes that each member of the Little House on the Prairie cast had a distinct perception of Michael Landon. He observes that Landon's persona varied depending on the individual's role and relationship within the production. Melissa Gilbert, who played Landon's on-screen daughter, Laura Ingalls, likely experienced a different facet of Landon compared to Karen Grassel, Caroline Ingalls, or Merlin Olsen, Jonathan Garvey. This diversity of experiences underscores Landon's ability to adapt and relate to his cast and crew in unique ways, reflecting his dynamic leadership style and interpersonal skills. What do you think about Melissa Gilbert's first negative feelings for Dean Butler? Leave us your comments in the section below. We hope you have found this helpful video. Don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you like it. Thank you for watching this and see you in the next videos. Goodbye.